Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all well and that you're all having a great day. A couple of things to cover today to start things off. During an interview with CNBC on Tuesday, Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, said that the future of Ripple is bright, as many banks will be using the XRP ledger by the end of 2019. The XRP ledger is an open source code base that can perform over 1,500 transactions per second. It requires the XRP coin. I think there's still rumors, or rather it says it on their website, that XRP can actually do 50,000 transactions per second. I don't know if that's during the next update or whatever it might be, but as of now, we're constantly quoted the 1,500, even though it states 50,000 on the Ripple website. This isn't the first time that Garlinghouse is hyping Ripple. During another interview at the conference called Money 2020, Garlinghouse made his confidence in Ripple clear. He said, and I quote, "I have said it before that by the end of 2019, the XRP ledger will be a significant tool in banks around the world. Before 2019 comes to an end, I believe that dozens of banks will embrace Ripple," end quote. There's also a little bit more. They talk about XRP here. You guys already know what XRP is, so no real need to go into that. When talking about the future and I guess the price of Ripple, he said, "The industry is nascent and speculation is what dominates the market action. In time, people will understand the unique use cases." He said, "Bitcoin will be a panacea as people suspected it will be. Bitcoin will solve different problems. There are different kinds of blockchains and ledgers being created daily," end quote. A lot of people have been shocked that Brad Garlinghouse has been saying anything nice about Bitcoin. Don't be fooled just because he is the CEO of Ripple and I'm sure owns a lot of XRP. He was also one of the first people to get into the cryptocurrency space, and I am more than certain he owns more than a handful of Bitcoin. I don't know about Ethereum. He has never ever mentioned Ethereum, but recently, in the last couple of months, you may have noticed if you Google Brad Garlinghouse and Bitcoin, somewhere around there, you'll find that he has constantly been mentioning Bitcoin to say that he is not talking down against it, but he thinks that every coin has their own use case, if you will. He's mentioned many times that Bitcoin will be like a remedy for problems that we have in the world, but he doesn't think that Bitcoin can solve all the problems, and therefore this is why we have XRP and the other coins. So as of now, no one knows exactly what's going to happen with Ripple and or XRP and or XRP. No one knows when XRP is going to be turned on. But I think this is clearly evident to what I was saying before. I think everyone, for some reason, is revving up their engines, getting ready for possibly the bull run or a week and a half of a bull run that could be coming around Q4 or sometime when it gets cold outside. So I think everyone is trying to make sure that the public knows that their coin is still out there, that they're still out there, that they're still active. And this is why we're getting a lot of news from people and projects that we just haven't heard from before. I think everyone wants to make sure that everyone knows that their coin is still relevant should prices begin to shoot back up. Next up, I am not surprised, but I am glad that this came to the light. Bank of America, the second largest banking institution in the United States, has filed another patent application for a system that manages cryptocurrency storage in an enterprise environment. Public documents published on Thursday by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, or the USPTO, show that the Charlotte, North Carolina-based firm has furthered its research into securing private keys in an institutional organization. The company first applied for this patent in April. The patent, which specifically details how a computing device would manage blockchain encryption tags, is the continuation of a proposal for a cryptocurrency online vault system the bank has been developing since 2014. Let that sink in. We spoke about the other, the NASDAQ, when they said that they had been working for the last 5 years to try and make something with cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and the New York Stock Exchange. And now we have word that Bank of America has been working on something since 2014. The patent envisions a future in which cryptocurrency is widely adopted by the general public, but that consumers still entrust their funds to a custodian, such as banks, rather than maintaining their own private keys. And I'll try and touch on that in a second. The authors wrote, and I do quote, "Enterprises may handle a large number of financial transactions on a daily basis. As technology advances, financial transactions involving cryptocurrency have become more common. For some enterprises, it may be desirable to securely store cryptocurrency," end quote. Along with corporate giants such as Walmart and IBM, Bank of America has been among the United States' most prolific investors in blockchain research. The firm has applied for dozens of blockchain patents over the year, including quite a few that involve cryptocurrency in some capacity. When it comes to this idea, and this is why I said I find it perplexing, and this is why I wish that more people were in the cryptocurrency space, when we have, and this is going to happen, don't be fooled, don't be confused by it either when it does happen. There are a lot of banks and other institutions who are trying to be banks, who are trying to be crypto custodians. I'm not sure. So this comes down to that banks have been around for so long that people are used to storing their money with banks and kind of don't know anything else. There was a time where people stored their money in the backyard. I think that's true. I've heard that from a lot of old people. And also people used to store their money under the bed because they felt that it was safer to hold it in their own hands rather than giving it to a bank who could potentially default or close down or take their money away from them. And this has happened many times, even just the last 20 years, if you want to not even go back that far. So there are a lot of banks who are trying to become cryptocurrency storage systems, or they're trying to have something where they can hold your private keys for you. One, that's already a major no-no. Two, I'm disappointed because we don't have proper storage outside of these things yet. I understand that the purpose of the people developing the cryptocurrencies is not to create wallets and or things that we can, use on a daily basis. But we've gotten to the point where as these major names start coming into the space, they're going to start creating more and more of these custody solutions for people who have no idea where to put their coins. And they're going to end up trusting Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, the New York Stock Exchange more than they actually trust themselves or any item that they may be on their body, i.e. their phone or their computer, wherever they decide to store their cryptocurrency. And heaven forbid, should we enter a time where there's some type of crisis or some type of, what was the country where it happened? Was it Cyprus, where their country was going through some type of banking issue and the country decided to take 10% of everyone's money that they had in their bank account? What if something horrific happens and millions of people then have their money stored with Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase, and the banks simply decide to take 10% of what is held in each account? You can't really then stop them at that point, especially if you end up signing a contract with them that says, in case of an emergency, should the bank default, we have the right to take 10% of your money. I hope you kind of get what I'm saying. This is going to happen whether we want it to or not. But I think more things need to be developed so that people have more control over their own coins and are taught to have control over their own coins. At the moment, I understand that it might be convenient to use Binance and to use Coinbase, and this is simply because there aren't many options to buy it outside of these things. We have other places where you can buy them, but these are the largest names in this space right now. And even when it comes to holding your coins in custody, but this is why we need to get to the atomic swaps thing. I know it's very difficult, apparently, to create. But when we have atomic swaps, we won't have a need for any of these custody things. But I think we're always going to have a world where we have incredibly rich people who are going to be using these products in order to store their wealth and or their cryptocurrencies, same as the Winklevoss twins have been doing for quite some time. But one, they're not the only ones doing this. There are tons of other people and organizations and companies who are trying to get in on the game. But I hope that at least in the next 3, 4, 5 years, we have a proper solution that we can hold these things ourselves and don't have to rely on major banking systems. Because like I said, they haven't had the best track record ever. So I would like if we... But before these things all end up taking off, if we could actually have control over our money before people start trusting them more than they trust their own body, self, wallet, money. You know what I'm trying to say. Next up, Wirex Limited, a cryptocurrency services provider, has been granted an e-money license by the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, or the FCA, opening up a much broader market, allowing the company to offer services supporting over 25 different sovereign currencies. Wirex is now pursuing similar accreditation, in other countries, and is in the process of developing offerings in Asia, including Singapore and Japan, as well as North America, the company said on Thursday. Wirex co-founder Pavel Matveev said that working closely with regulators around the world is testament to the company's robust approach to security and compliance. Focusing on these important milestones is key to achieving our ambitious goals of expansion. The FCA e-money license is just the first step to creating a broad and versatile, offering that meets the varying needs of consumers worldwide. This was said by Matveev. We are aiming to bring crypto to the mainstream while also providing an innovative, complete solution for managing both crypto and fiat money day to day. We're delighted to be able to take this next step and push forward with these internationally recognized credentials in place. I think I've heard a bit about people using Wirex. I think I've heard a lot of people saying that it was okay. I think everyone is trying to move into different countries right now. I think that's kind of the thing. Nobody wants to be stuck in one country, especially when it comes to making money. Everybody wants to be certain or sure that they have spread their wings, if you will, when it comes to being able to offer other things in other countries. And this is why we kind of have news like this. So I guess good news. Any news about a cryptocurrency agency or company or entity moving further around the world is very good news. But I guess it kind of goes into the entire Bank of America thing. I wonder how much longer we're actually going to have or need these services. I'm going to say 2023 is probably going to be the beginning of the end for a lot of these services. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Next up, Lisk is in the news, and Lisk is never ever in the news. A little bit more. There we go. Lisk Core v1.0 is scheduled to be launched onto the mainnet of Lisk when the height of the block is 6.9 million. And this is expected to occur on the 29th of August in 2018. I believe that's 2 or 3 days away. This is due to the great effort of the team behind the blockchain project, which has recently included a sidechain initial coin offering and the creation of new products from the blockchain project, including Lisk Hub, Lisk Ascend, and Lisk Elements. Lisk Core is a fundamental aspect of the Lisk protocol, and it will help in bringing the decentralized network of the digital currency to the fore. The launch of the mainnet will also enable users to access the network through several methods, including through running their own nodes or through the new Lisk Hub. A little bit more. One of the numerous benefits of Lisk protocol is that it eliminates the need for centralized servers in the client-server relationship. This means when requests are being made between servers and clients, it gets the information from the nodes of the decentralized network, which all have a copy of the data instead of from a single server. Like I said, Lisk is almost never in the news. I see a lot of people were asking the last couple of weeks for me to talk about it. I assure you there is barely any Lisk news floating around out there, but this is yet another coin that is launching in 2018, so I thought it would be fun to at least touch on it for a tiny bit. Like I said, Lisk is barely ever in the news. They're not one of the largest or most spoken about cryptocurrencies, but I'm sure this will excite a lot of people who are actually holding Lisk, especially as the mainnet is going to be officially launching in just a couple of days. Next up, this one is similar to what I spoke about 2 weeks ago about a couple of coins. Japanese internet giant GMO has switched its entire mining capacity from Bitcoin Cash over to Bitcoin as of July 2018. A copy of the company's monthly mining report uploaded to social media by cryptocurrency business investor Trace Meyer confirms that in July, GMO mined 568 Bitcoin blocks and 0 Bitcoin Cash blocks, the result of a sliding trend throughout this year. The statistics contrast sharply with the company's strategy as it appears in January, when it mined just 21 Bitcoin blocks but 213 Bitcoin Cash blocks. Linking to tongue-in-cheek Bitcoin fork monitoring site fork.lol, Maya struck a critical tone focusing on Bitcoin Cash, suggesting that GMO had deliberately pivoted away from mining it due to various challenges that the altcoin faces. Although there are previous revelations that hackers could ostensibly launch a 51% attack on the Bitcoin Cash network for less than $40,000, potentially causing a network fork and de facto disabling transaction validation. So this was, for those who don't know, about 2 or 3 months ago, there was some organization, I don't remember what their name is at all, announced that they were going to be launching a 51% attack on the Bitcoin Cash network. I don't think it actually went through. I think it would have been a lot more major. This is why we also have had news the last couple of days that they're going to be performing a Bitcoin Cash stress test on the network in order to make sure that a 51% attack can't happen, and kind of to, I guess, show the strength of the network. But I'll continue on and I'll kind of get back into it. In addition, plans to fork Bitcoin Cash deliberately later this year have also met with votes of no confidence from some cryptocurrency circles. We spoke about that a day or two ago. I think they're trying to, I can't remember exactly what the fork is. It hasn't really been in the news that much. But the fact that they're even trying to fork or hard fork a fork of Bitcoin, because there are now people within the Bitcoin Cash world who don't believe that Bitcoin Cash is going down the right path, and that it needs to be more of this, and people are claiming that they've heard from Satoshi and that they knew him many years ago and he told them never to do this, and that Bitcoin Cash is the true Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin Cash even now, right now, is different from what he wanted it, so that it should be forked again and then create a new coin in order to create another new coin that is going to, it's all kind of ridiculous at this point. GMO, meanwhile, began accepting pre-orders for its B2. That's not really that important. It's about them talking about not fighting against Bitmain, but that they could potentially overtake Bitmain. I don't know how true that's going to be. Bitcoin Cash is going through a lot of issues. It is not the predicted #1 coin that Roger Ver and a number of other people predicted that it was going to be. I don't have any major gripes against Bitcoin Cash. That is to say, I don't really care about it, neither here nor there. I told you I'm an investor. Whatever makes me money, I'm going to put my money into. But I don't feel like Bitcoin Cash has felt like almost like an argument coin. Like, I think we could have had a different, whatever, I was going to talk about the name. I feel like we could have had a different solution than actually forking Bitcoin 38 times in order to make different coins, because everyone is just trying to kind of have a cash grab. I think if you really believed in Bitcoin, I think you would have stuck with it, not created your own coin. But in the end, we'll see what ends up happening with Bitcoin Cash. I don't think it's going to die. Let me be clear on that. I think I mentioned that before in another video. The people who are holding Bitcoin hold the largest amount of Bitcoin. They also hold all the Bitcoin Cash that came from the forks. I'm certain at least one of them has their hand in the cookie jar in some way, especially because the Winklevoss twins also know the guy who created Mt. Gox. They also know the guy who created, I think, Coinbase and a number of other cryptocurrency exchanges. And the Winklevoss twins also know Roger Ver. So I am certain at some point they're all getting together to hang out and talk about the future of these coins. I don't think Bitcoin Cash is something catastrophic has to happen to Bitcoin Cash in order for it to go away. But it seems that a lot of people are actually moving away from Bitcoin Cash. You may have noticed there's less people talking about it ever since January, where we had the hype of Bitcoin Cash becoming the #1 coin. We have a lot of just talk around Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP at the moment, as I think that other people think, or the higher ups as I call them, are probably assuming that these three will be the trifecta for the cryptocurrency market, and they're kind of letting the other coins slip down on the side. Next up, this is weird, and I'll explain why in a little bit. The cryptocurrency market has had its fair share of bulls and bears over the years. Bobby Lee, who is the co-founder of BTCC Exchange and Charlie Lee's brother, which I did not know, that is actually very interesting, ostensibly falls into the former category, recently issuing a series of tweets regarding his undying bullish sentiment on Bitcoin. On Friday afternoon, Industry veteran and Bitcoin bull Bobby Lee revealed that he fully expects for the price of the foremost crypto asset to skyrocket to $60,000 in the coming years. Along with reaching $60,000 apiece, the crypto entrepreneur noted that the total market cap of the asset will surpass $1 trillion, which would put Bitcoin on par with the value of some legacy markets. He added, "That would be a huge milestone for BTC, and it'll lead to more price stability, higher global liquidity, and even faster adoption worldwide." This statement alludes to the fact that $1 trillion would be an important mental barrier for Bitcoin to cross, and once it does, no coiners may begin to see that the nascent asset class holds true value. While predictions are often educated guesses at best, Lee made it sound much more like a certainty rather than a forecast, which only allows or goes to show that he is hard set on portraying himself as a Bitcoin bull, which I think is really funny because his brother is, I almost said something really weird. His brother likes Litecoin. That's what I'll say on that. So you got to have two brothers. One likes Bitcoin, one likes Litecoin. What I think is weird is that his prediction says in a couple of years. I don't think we have that long. If Bitcoin can hit 20,000 from normal people buying into the market, I think 60,000, if one, I can definitely see us hitting 60,000 this year if something astronomically crazy happens. And even more so, mid-2019, I don't think we're that far off from a $60,000 Bitcoin. What I think the barrier is this $1 trillion number. It's the same as when Bitcoin passed by 10,000. That was like the mental barrier that people needed. I'm not really sure how many more barriers we need to break in order to, not counting the other 1,800 cryptos that are out there, but for people to understand that at least the top 10 coins are probably not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think I think it needs to happen because you have these moments where people are able to, put this into the news and say, oh my gosh, it finally passed that. And that's going to be a shame. I told you guys before, people aren't going to take notice until numbers like this start popping up. And when they do pop up, they're going to appear in the news. And the people who could have gotten into Bitcoin when it was even where it is right now will be trying to grab fractions of it at this price. And they'll be really disappointed. And then I put it this way. Think about when you got into Bitcoin. Think about when you entered the cryptocurrency space, how much Bitcoin was. And I'm pretty sure we've all had this moment, is that we all looked at graphs and price charts and we all said, wow, I wish I got into Bitcoin at that point. Oh my gosh, do you see the prices of this? Do you see the prices of this? This is the same exact thing that's going to happen, except it's going to be a lot more difficult for anyone to get into the market by the time Bitcoin hits 1 trillion. That will be a complete solidification of the value, I want to say, of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And it's just a shame because so many people are downplaying it or talking down against it. I don't even know who it is. There's 3 people or 3 bots. I don't know exactly what it is. They post in every video that I make about how crypto is dead, the market is dying, sell your coins. I can't believe you fools are still buying into this. And I read it, like, I think the first 3 times I was like, okay, whatever. But then they keep posting the same exact thing every single day over and over. And I noticed that when the market goes up, I don't see those posts anymore. Just a little thing to think about. Continuing on. However, Lee quickly received a lot of flack from Bitcoin pessimists, with many noting that his reasoning behind the prediction was shallow and vague at best. Seemingly responding to the criticism, the BTCC executive later issued a series of tweets that were meant to bring credence to his aforementioned prediction. Lee first brought up the idea of mining and Bitcoin's next halving. Referencing his 7 years of experience in the industry, he wrote, and I quote, "When I started in 2011, daily global output, new Bitcoin times price, was at $36,000. In 2015, this went up to $1.8 million. Today, we are at $12 million US. It means that globally, hash power keeps going up, using up to $12 million in electricity costs. The BTCC co-founder went on to note that if Bitcoin's network hash rate continues to grow non-linearly, coupled with 2020's block reward halving, 900 Bitcoin a day, the price of the asset will be pushed up to new heights. Doing some napkin math, he noted that if Bitcoin's miners use up $54 million worth of electricity a day, Bitcoin could easily see the $60,000 price that he mentioned earlier. I don't think we even have to get that far. I think a lot of people are putting a lot of focus on the electricity cost of Bitcoin, how much it's costing the miners, but they're missing the fact that these are going to be significant in that we need electricity to mine Bitcoin, and we need people to mine the Bitcoin. But when you get global players into this, and when banks start announcing that they have been buying, the fact that people haven't gotten that yet, and when banks start announcing that they've been buying it, and you don't create a custody solution without holding some yourself. That's completely ridiculous. When people actually understand what's actually happening, and when we get hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into the market every single day from people who are just buying large chunks of it because they have it that way and they are able to buy all this stuff, I think 60,000 is very close to happening. We hit 20,000, just has to be tripled in order to hit 60,000. I know it's really simple math, but it's all there. And nothing in my mind tells me that 60,000 per Bitcoin is out of the realm of possibility. The fact that the market was controlled by governments and world leaders who were all talking about banning and all this other stuff, the moment the market itself, the entire crypto market, got close to $1 trillion, is a huge indication of what's coming. They all noted before that they did that on purpose, which is kind of, isn't it weird that it's like someone sabotaging something you have and then explaining to you later that they're sorry because they didn't want you to make it? It's kind of the same exact thing. We were very close to $1 trillion valuation for the entire market. And I think if we had hit that, Bitcoin would have completely gone absolutely insane. So I think they stopped it before it could have all happened. 60,000 per Bitcoin is not out of the realm of possibility. I don't think we're years off. I don't think it's going to happen in even 2023. Mid 2019, I can definitely see it happening. A year from now, I think it's definitely a possibility. I don't think the market that we have right now is going to last for much longer. But this is the prediction from Mr. Lee, the other Lee's brother. I guess that's kind of really it. A lot of people have been boasting about really crazy predictions. This one is definitely on the lower scale. A lot of people who predicted that even last year that Bitcoin would just see a high of around 4,000 or 5,000. We're also pretty shocked by the time we hit 12,000 and they completely lost their minds when it hit around, it was like 19,988. I think that was a number that it actually scratched the surface of on a lot of different exchanges. Anyway, that is 100% going to do it for this video. Interesting to have news on the weekend, which we typically do not ever have. Thank you all for watching and or listening. I do appreciate all the support. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Pretty chilly over here. Not that you needed to know that. Thank you once again for all your support. And I will talk to you all soon. See you.